Manual handling was a big issue for AI's Christon Curbstones factory in Glasgow. Operators transferring flags from an upright pallet to the test rig needed to lift, tilt and push them into place, with obvious risks to their backs, arms and fingers. The solution came from a safety committee brainstorming session.
The first part of the project was to install a hoist. This was followed by the actual test rig itself, an improvement to the test rig itself. This was done by installing a trolley jack fitted with lightweight rollers to get the product from the crane into the test rig. We then developed pallets to do away with ordinary wooden pallets with a sort of goalpost arrangement on them so that the product could fit between each slot and couldn't topple over on the operator. And we've now developed a project where it's almost 99% mechanical handling rather than physical manual handling. Having asked around about the industry what other people are doing, they're basically where we were before we started this project. So I think this would be a good idea to pass this round about the industry and make other places as safe as we now are.
Since taking over the business 2 years ago, the new management at Myers Group's Johnson's Wellfield Quarry have extended the health and safety culture throughout the company.
The Myers Group have invested very heavily in the very latest cutting technologies. We now use robots in place of traditional masonry tools of hammers, chisels and mallets for cutting stone, therefore reducing the exposure to silicosis from stone dust. It also reduces other occupational health issues, for example hand-arm vibration, repetitive strain and various lifting issues.
This Cemex UK flooring factory at Wick near Bristol produces pre-stressed T-beams in long lengths separated by rubbers. Previously, for each casting, 1,200 rubbers had to be removed manually by an operator working at height on a platform.
Well, there was an obvious hazard with our operatives working from a height, albeit rather low. There could be a slip on the way up to the bed or down. They're working on platforms and manually lifting these rubbers out. The new rubber extraction machine has completely eliminated the need for our operatives to get up on the beds to remove the rubbers. It has also completely eliminated the repetitive work of pulling these rubbers out by hand.
Working with the rubber extraction machine daily, everyone feels it's made life a lot safer and easier. It's eliminated the hazard of climbing on the bed and falling off, and it's eliminated the hazard of hurting your back whilst pulling the rubbers out manually.
The need to ensure safe occasional inspections of vertical Mertz lime kilns prompted action from Singleton Birch. The act of leaning into the kiln exposes operators and maintenance teams to the risk of losing balance and falling into the vessel. A brainstorm produced the idea of fitting a hinged protective cage into the kiln door.
What we've actually done on the kilns in order to mitigate the fall risk is to install safety cages which are mounted on the outside of the shaft of the kiln. These cages that can be swung into place before the operator actually has to physically put their body into or their head inside the kiln to investigate. This has enabled them to actually look around the inside of the kiln without any potential for actually falling into the vessel itself. The risks associated with looking inside the kiln, there's obviously the fall risk, which has the impact associated along with it, which could cause damage to the body, but there's also dangerous gases inside the kilns, and there's also the heat factor and the chance of suffocation inside the kiln. There's also a lack of egress out of the kiln as well. It would be very difficult to get someone out if they actually fell inside. Well, not only can it be used on Mertz kilns, such as ourselves, any particular vessel where there is an associated fall risk and people have to inspect and look inside, you could potentially adapt this idea to suit pretty much any application going. Overall, everyone sees it as a very positive step. It's completely eradicated the risks that's associated with it, and the operators can go up in the confidence knowing that they're not going to fall into that vessel.
UK Coal faced a tricky problem after an incident forced a halt to the use of factory-fitted equipment designed to eject rock from between the tyres of 100-ton Caterpillar 777 trucks. Conscious of the need to avoid operators having to move into a potential danger area to physically remove the rocks, it came up with an inherently safer mechanical alternative.
Well, with the removal of the rock ejectors, we were then putting men into a danger area by having to fix traps around the rocks to pull them out. And that's why we had to come up with something better to remove the men from the danger area. We devised a mechanical finger which reaches in between the tyres on the 777s and pushes the rock out in a downward motion, and that eliminates any need for any pedestrians to go anywhere near the tyres to remove the rocks. The truck driver with the rock in between the tyres makes contact with the back actor driver. Once they've rendezvoused, the back actor driver takes over. He positions the truck by means of two-way radio. Once the truck is in position, he travels forward, puts the finger in between the tyres and removes the rock in a downward motion. It's as simple as that. Well, the management and the operators are very pleased with it because we've eliminated the problem. We've removed the man from the danger area totally.